Okay guys, this week I've been driving around the 2019 Kia Sorento. This is the top trim, top spec. It's 48 grand. It's the SXL all-wheel drive V6. And I'm going to give you some first impressions and some thoughts on this car. I've had it for a few days and it's pretty nice. I've gotten used to it. It's very user-friendly. All the buttons and the interfaces are really nice to operate on a daily basis, and Kia does a good job with that stuff, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. Let's take a walk around here, show you what this thing looks like. Lots of chrome, lots of contrasting accents on the exterior with chrome door handles, wheels. I think it looks pretty good, especially with these orange LED running lights. That's a pretty neat touch. So overall, pretty attractive exterior, I think. This Sorento actually isn't as big as the competition, but it's pretty roomy inside, and you do even get a third row with a decent amount of space back there. Really, the only options that this Sorento has, I think, are some rear cargo storage here, and everything else is pretty much included for the $46,000 base price. Decent amount of room back here, a little bit high because of that third row seating. You do even get a pretty decent amount of legroom back there. Of course, you have to disassemble all this to raise the seats up. I imagine most buyers of this car won't be needing the third row all the time. It is a little bit tedious to get back there, but in a pinch, it's available, it's there, and that can be kind of nice. You have a rear seat privacy screen right there on both sides, rear seat heaters. Pretty nice quality leather all throughout the cabin. The finishing and everywhere on the interior is pretty good. Fold these seats down, get access to the back. You can even move these seats forward quite a bit. Give the rear passengers a little bit more room. Plenty of legroom for me at 5'10", also set to my driving position in front of me. You have some good power ports down here. You've got a 115 volt plug outlet, USB, and a 12 volt cigarette lighter port. Nice, attractive cabin. It feels very airy in here, especially with this big panoramic sunroof. Backseat is definitely a comfortable place to be. The armrests fall to hand. Something that doesn't quite happen in the front seat. There isn't exactly the best place to rest your arms. One of my complaints with the driving position of this car, but in the back here it's very comfortable, very roomy, and quite a nice place to be. Alright, let's get to the good stuff here. So, let's see the key. Typical Kia Smart Key here. Just put that in our pocket. So we have a lot of features, a lot of things to go over in this car. I wanted to try something in this video that I haven't really delved into before, and that's the sound system. This has a pretty nice sound system. It's quite a high quality system. Even at low volume, it sounds pretty good. Let's start the song. I've picked these two pieces specifically to test audio systems. We're in Apple CarPlay right now. Even when you turn the sound down, it sounds pretty good. You have nice rich bass. Stays nice and clear throughout. Listen to something more classical. Okay, so just a little audio test for this. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto work really well. It's nice to have apps like Waze and stuff in here. The touchscreen is pretty responsive, nice and quick. Let's turn all that down. And the infotainment is really easy to use. So you've got quick response with the navigation. You can zoom out, zoom in. The beeping is a little bit loud, but you can probably adjust that. Lots of options here that you can tweak in the setup, and go back to the home screen. Of course, all of your climate controls are they fall right to hand. You have heated steering wheel, heated seats right next to each other, which is nice because you can kind of press those at the same time. And everything is really easy to get to and laid out super well. Auto climate control works well. Lots of steering wheel controls. So the cruise control is very intuitive, very user-friendly. Basically, just cruise up and down to set. You can set your following distance here, and then your lane keep assist is over on the left. All right, let's take this thing for a drive. We've got a few driving modes. Let's leave it in Smart, but otherwise you have Comfort, Eco, and Sport. Smart kind of figures out what mode is best given your driving style and driving habits at that moment. You do have a locking center differential, which I guess gives this thing some off-road capabilities, but you'd probably be pretty limited with ground clearance, to be honest. Nice center area here to store some stuff. Glove box has a little bit of room in there, beyond the manual and everything. And you do get, I don't know how well you guys can see this in daylight, but you do get a 360 cam around you, and then when you shift into drive, it'll show you the camera in front of you. Nice high-res displays, and you can select 4 different camera options for where you want to view on the front or rear bumpers. All the buttons, they have kind of a light touch, light feel to them, and the same translates over into what this car is like to drive. Steering is really light, especially at low speeds. Accelerator, pedal, the brake pedal, really light feel. Kind of brings an effortless experience or effortless feel to driving this car. This V6 is pretty quiet, very smooth. It's made it to an 8-speed automatic, which does good things. 3.3 liter V6, I believe that makes 280 horsepower. It's a good amount of power. I would probably, it's not a ton of horsepower. Sometimes there are situations where I'm trying to merge into a tight squeeze onto the highway, and I wish I just had a little bit more grunt. Ride quality is really nice as well. It's definitely on the softer side. What I really appreciate about the Sorento is just how user-friendly it is. All of the buttons and the things that you interact with on a daily basis, from changing the climate control to adjusting the windshield wipers, turn signals, headlights, cruise control, following distance, all that stuff that you use pretty much on most drives, is really well laid out and really well thought out for how people are going to be using their vehicles. Over some of these rougher roads, not a lot of cabin intrusion, and very, very nice, soft, supple ride, as they say. Let's give it a little bit of an acceleration run here. The transmission on this isn't perfect. It has a little bit of a delay sometimes on downshifts, but most of the time it's pretty good. When you're not hustling it, when you're not really trying to scoot around, it's very smooth, and really smooth, seamless shifts, and it's a really quite a nice engine-transmission pairing. But sometimes there's just a little bit of funkiness that happens, a little bit jerky, but that's okay. It can be forgiven, I think. It's not a big deal. You do have some torque vectoring with this all-wheel drive system. You feel a little bit on turn-in where you can just feel the brakes trying to mitigate some of that understeer. Under full throttle, the engine's actually pretty quiet. There's not a lot of engine noise in this car, or wind noise. Overall, it's pretty quiet. It's nice to be able to listen to your music at speed, enjoy that quality sound system. No paddle shifters in the back, but this isn't a sports car, and that's probably just fine. So how do I feel about this after a few days living with it? You know, I think this is just a solid family vehicle. It has a nice 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. I believe a 60,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty. You always get pretty strong warranties with Kia and Hyundai. And I think this is a pretty good mid-size SUV option. It's really comfortable, ride quality is great. You know, depending on what you need, if you're looking for something that's a little bit smaller, doesn't have as big of a footprint on the road, this doesn't feel like a massive vehicle. This feels like it's about the right size. It's not tedious to park, it's not tedious to place. You have nice visibility. It's low, you can fit it in lower garages, lower parking spaces. So I think there's a convenience and a practicality to that some buyers are probably looking for in this segment. And if so, this is a pretty good option. I think this top spec is a little bit pricey, but you know, this is 2019. Vehicle prices are going up a little bit, and these things aren't always going to be this expensive. You can always buy one used, probably save a good chunk of change, and that's always a good option. Around town, this thing is very comfortable, very nice to drive. The radar guided cruise control works quite well. The lane keep assist is good for when you need to look at something or, you know, move your attention elsewhere besides the road. And the infotainment, all of the ergonomics, the way everything is laid out is just on point. Kia really nailed the usability of this car in that regard, and I wish other manufacturers would take some notes. Buttons for the climate control, buttons for volume, knobs for volume, and knobs for tuning. Easy, simple layouts here on the steering wheel. It's all good stuff. So no real big complaints. I mentioned earlier that there isn't really a good place to rest your arms, but you can rest your arms on the bolsters if you leave your hands right about here on the wheel. And I found these seats to be really comfortable over longer drives of about an hour or so. So pretty much to sum up the Sorento, it's a nice, livable SUV. You can't really go wrong in any particular area. And I think it's well balanced in the marketplace with price and features and all this other stuff. So that pretty much sums it up. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. Something a little bit more practical for you this week. And I'll be posting some videos on Winding Road on this as well, without any talking, and we'll also do a night drive, show you guys what the headlights and what this thing looks like at nighttime. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in another video later. Take it easy.